Hello, everybody. I'm Victor Rivera. That's 7 o'clock. I'll just let that do its own thing. Just to prove that it's 7 o'clock. Yeah, hi, I'm Victor Rivera, and this is D&Me, where I play with myself. I play D&D with myself, and that's always a great introduction to say, because I'm not alone right now, so I'm not playing with myself. I have special guests. So, say hello to my mom and my dad. Hello.
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 So this is my mom and Java. So this is our dog also. I was going to introduce him last, but there he is.
But no.
This is D&Mommy, and then this is D&Papi. So this is my family. My sister will have her own segment. But I wanted to, since I'm home in North Carolina, then I wanted to take advantage of my wonderful family and show them off and brag about them, because they are my biggest supporters and I love them very much, and they are huge and mean the world to me support-wise. Yeah, just to brag about y'all a little bit, people ask me like what my origins of acting is and like performance, and so I say that Mom, yeah, hi y'all, says Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Damn straight, I'll have my own bit. Yep, exactly.
Parts 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah, well we've been toying with some Skyrim content, so that'll be cool.
I would totally watch that.
Yeah, you will.
Me too.
Yeah, immediately. So
Immediately.
the chat will just say Z Z Z Z Z
That's
Z
right.
Z Z Z.
Oh, this is so wonderful and relaxing.
But yeah, my origins in acting. I say that Mom she was an actress in high school, and she was in a couple of plays. And then my dad in Mexico, he was a mime, so he taught me everything he knows about pantomime, and that's really awesome. So I have it in my blood, acting.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Came by it honestly.
Exactly. Well, Papi, we only have a little bit of time with you, so I want to ask you about shirts. Tell me about shirts.
Okay, well, this is Java,
It's Java.
and he would like to be fed very soon.
Yeah.
Then I'll have just maybe 5 minutes with you all.
Yeah.
And this is a shirt. Maybe you can see it. It is the Mexican rendition that Victor did for my mom, for his abuela.
Yeah.
And in December last year, I went to Mexico with 2 T-shirts, one for my mom, abuela, and one for me, and we wore them together. And then Victor did the design in Spanish with the Mexican flag in the background, and it's very, very nice. And I wanted just to introduce that a beautiful tradition that Dodi have done since the kids were really, really young. And I was just, as a Christmas present, she gave me, total surprise, she gave me a T-shirt that had a picture of Victor and Sarah outside the front porch, and they were eating, each one had a bag of Cheetos, and they were eating the Cheetos in front of the house. Then, and that was the first of many T-shirts that they give me for Christmas. And then all of them will have that theme of a bag with Cheetos and eating the Cheetos. And I would like to, for my beautiful wife, a model here, and to show the most recent ones. And maybe we can...
Yeah.
You need to
Victor.
switch it up. Yeah.
Maybe closer, Victor, or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
They can see it pretty good.
Okay, yes. Then, as you can see, each one had a bag of Cheetos. And this is, when it was?
Oh, that was 2019, I believe.
2019, okay. Thank you. And then another one.
This is this year.
Mm-hmm. And Victor, could you tell us about?
Yeah, so this is 2021, where we went to the North Carolina Renaissance Fair. So it's me and Sarah dressed up in our Ren Fair costumes and stuff, and we have bags of Cheetos.
Very anachronistic.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last one for the show.
This one we had to get creative for. Ah, what happened? Okay, there we go. He got caught on something.
Well, it is a Zoom because in 2020 everything went Zoom-wise, and then that's the reason it's a Zoom. And we have also, of course, the Cheetos.
Yeah. So me and Sarah took pictures of ourselves in our respective places. And they have our names and then Cheetos. So yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And I will point out that very first picture you actually took on him when you took that picture,
yes.
and then I put it on the T-shirt, and then from then on we started that wonderful
Ah.
tradition.
I didn't
that
know
was
that.
the best.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I was
yes.
out of town, and you had taken the picture to send to me because y'all were out having fun and being cute, and so then I was like, "That's
Aw.
a fabulous picture." They were like wee tiny little things, and then we've done it for a good bazillion years. So.
Yes, thank you.
It's a very
Thank
nice
you.
tradition.
Yeah, so thank you, Papi, for shirts and investing. You can get this design of D&Mexico on the Redbubble, and we have a similar magnet on our fridge right now. So thank you very
Okay,
much
you're welcome.
for supporting the show.
Yes.
And then we had a conversation earlier about different artists and their processes. So tell me about the one that you were talking about earlier.
Yes, several years ago, I wanted to have a kind of a new thriller author that, like a Tom Clancy and so on, but not Tom Clancy. And just by chance, I found Patrick Robinson. And the first audiobook that I listened to him, it was just pure chance from the library, and it was called The Nimitz. And then the second book was Kilo Class, and they are submarine thrillers, and they are really, really good. I like them. And I listened then an interview later on with Patrick Robinson, and there are two things that I wanted to share with Victor. One of them is that Patrick Robinson, he's an artist, and artist in the sense of words, okay? And he said, well, I treat this as my profession, as a writer. And then he goes to his office, 8 o'clock in the morning, and ends at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Every day, except weekends. But, I mean, is his profession. Then he's a professional. He's in a bad mood, he goes to his office and writes. He's in a good mood, he goes to his office and writes. Okay, he's sad, he goes to his office and writes. He's tired, he goes to his office and then I thought that was very important, that discipline. We have heard about it's 5% inspiration and the rest is perspiration. Well,
Yeah.
that's really true. Then it's something I wanted to say to Victor, that is admirable, that some episodes you have been very tired, you have been doing something else, or just spending a lot of time doing other activities, but you come on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, I mean, even if you are really tired, and you do it. But before you go in front of the microphone, you have to do a lot of mental preparation and notes and so on, and you do them.
Yeah.
Then every week, okay? Then for me, that's very important. I wanted to commend you on that.
Thank you very
because
much.
That's part of the artistry. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just inspiration. I mean, you could have inspiration, but if you don't do something with it, then it will not happen.
Yeah. Follow through has been huge because I'm always inspired and I always come up with these good ideas. But in order to have 33 episodes of my own Dungeons and Dragons show, then I absolutely had to sit down Wednesdays and I block off my whole Wednesday in order to do the work. And I work a lot and every week. And yeah, y'all seen me in my like writing frenzies and preparing. So thank you very much, Papi.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very important that you just have to do the work. So thank you for recognizing that I do the work. Yeah.
And the other part that from that interview was, Victor asked me if I was playing D&D, that if I was going to be Rock, or if I was going to be Angel the Azarian, the policeman.
Yeah, so Rock, the Ravenclaw half-orc who really loves learning, lifelong learner, like my dad, and then linguistics also, and then Angel the Asimar, who is inspired directly from this guy, so...
And I told him, actually, no, I don't want to play those characters, because I'm very close to them.
Sarah, what was the last thing you heard? I'm so sorry about that, Papi.
No problem.
The mic is back. We'll just wait a second because there's also a little bit of a delay. It cut out right at the start of that story. Oh,
no. Well, you've told it once, tell it again.
Would you care to do it or condense it or
The story about the character playing the character?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then part of the interview with Patrick Robinson was to say, listen, if you had the opportunity to play a role, are you going to play the role of the hero that you have, that is a very good, handsome and wholesome character? He said, no, I'm not going to play that one because that's kind of me wanted to be something.
Yeah.
But what he would like to do is be the Admiral Arnold Morgan, who is just a tough guy that you want to be in your side if there are tough situations.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a villain to the enemies, but I mean, he's totally just ruthless and no-nonsense. I mean, just shrewd guy. And that's the character that Patrick Robinson would like to play.
Yeah.
Then, because Rock and Angel de Azarian are very close to me, then I don't want to play them because it's like a me playing, and I want it to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Then I will choose Tutut because he is big and he is extrovert and he sings. I cannot sing. I can dance, but I cannot sing. And that's the character that I would like to play.
I love it. Thank you very much, Papi.
Oh.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to have you and the whole family together with Mom and Papi and Sarah in the chat. So, yay! And then, real quick, the last little bits, I want to point out that I had the Spanish translations. So, Tipsy is Borrachicho, El Picardo Nomo, and then Onyx, the Bárbaro Henado. And then Pierdo, which is the Mago Semiorco. And then Tut, which is the Bardo Loxodon. So that's the Spanish translations for them all. So I did it. Yay!
Okay, well, I think Mr. Java wants to be fed.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Adios.
Yay! And then we're just going to transition here a little bit. So, yeah. And Sarah said, True Jack says adios. So we have someone else in the chat. Yay!
Hello.
Thank you very much, Papi. All right.
So good to talk to him.
Yeah, he's an amazing fella.
We've been married a bazillion years, and it's been wonderful. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be have him in my life, etc.
Yeah.
Good guy.
So yes, at this past episode 33, D&Merch, I was realizing a lot that my dad is very much like Rock in that as I play, then I take a lot of inspiration from him. And then, sure enough, in the end of the second episode, Trolling, then I introduce an ASMR character, so like the angel folk. And since my dad's name is Angel, or Angel, then that just fits. So he has cafe skin and a little wreath of hair. But more importantly, my dad's favorite color is yellow. So he has the big bird, fluffy feathered wings, and then his eyes are glowing yellow. So that's
very good. It's like, what was the Sandra Bullock movie?
Oh, Bedazzled?
No, Bedazzled, no.
Isn't that Brendan Fraser and Sandy?
No, that's Brendan Fraser and...
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah. So
Miss Congeniality, too. Remember when
Oh.
she's got that big... Yeah, that's what I thought of. She's got the big headdress.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Big Bird.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought of when you first did the ASMR with
That's pretty
the
funny.
yellow feathers.
That's good.
So that was good. To speak to his point about playing a different character.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I played D&D, I played a character that was very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And because I thought that would make me comfortable and stuff.
Yeah.
And I realized later on that was great as a first thing, but I realized as I was getting into playing more in D&D, I was still making decisions as myself and not as my characters.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so that has been really a challenge now that I've played it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And what I like about you is that you, and then we talked about this last time, you really become your characters, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of
Did it again. Yeah,
whether
I'm
you
sorry
wants
about
it or
that.
not.
Oh, well, thank you.
God.
So repeat that last little bit again, please.
It's just that Papi was talking about how he didn't want to play a character that was himself, and I was saying that it's really hard for me to not be myself in the skin of a character. I want to be the character and do what the character does, and I haven't quite. I'm getting better at it, but I haven't quite figured that part out.
So Mariana was very much your first Dungeons and Dragons character, right?
Was my very first.
Yeah, so that you saw a lot of yourself in that one. Mm-hmm. My first that played with Mariana was Tipsy, the Forest Gnome Rogue. So he has my looting sensibilities that I have in Skyrim. In Skyrim.
Nice save.
Then, yeah.
Well, this is very good to know, so that we can fix it for tomorrow.
Exactly.
This is duct tape.
None of that was captured in audio, but she was yelling for duct tape. So it's the actual mic itself, not the USB cable. I troubleshooted it. So
I'm really glad this isn't tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. So, is nothing else? It is pretty funny. If nothing else, it is pretty funny. Just the pantomime. So yeah, I was planning on letting this.
This is what Papi needs to be doing is the pantomime, not me.
Yeah.
He's the expert.
This was going to go an hour, but it might go even less now because this is bad audio, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm troubleshooting it, and it's just the mic. It's not the USB cable. So we're going to go get another mic. We'll do like just maybe 3 or 4 questions because this is very stressful. But to Papi and your point, we our first characters are very much reflective of who we are, and like when you play Skyrim, then we play like just choosing all the good choices of like making sure all the villagers like us and do all the nice things because that's reflective of our own personality. So Tipsy being my first character versus Onyx, who was my second character, that's really the 180. Like, all right, so I played pretty much Victor for Tipsy, and then Victor ends up being in a lot of Toot Toot, just base personality wise. But for Onyx, he really that's the least Victor character so far. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting. It's like you get to see different aspects. I don't know that you could actually have a character that doesn't have any of you in it. And I mean, even when you if you played like some sort of hideous villain, which you have because you're an actor.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you that question: has there ever been a character that has like absolutely none of you that you've played in any realm, D&D or acting or plays?
D&Me. Well, the thing about acting is that every character will inevitably have a piece of you in it.
Okay.
Like even if it's just 1%, then there's no way to escape that in this art form. And it's an interesting artistic exercise to try and detach yourself as much from it, or to try and reach for a character that you have no business of playing. But in order to get there, you need to pave the solid groundwork of like your own attachments or your own way that you would deal with those things. Because one of the tenets of acting is that you should never judge your character. I caught that. Yeah. So I said, if you play a murderer, and then Mom said,
"Oh, we're gonna murder this Mike."
Yeah. Your days are numbered, buddy. Yes. So, even if you're trying to play a character that is the least like you, you have to relate to it somehow and have you in it. So, but the grand scheme of the question, for D&Me, Thornin so far, the disgruntled dwarf in the Skewered Dragon, he's just unempathetic and cruel and vicious, and uncaring. So that's pretty much the outskirts of Victor's circle, outlier wise. I've never played like a video game where I'm like, I'm going to choose all the bad choices because I'm like, no.
I tried that once, and it was so unpleasant.
I would
It was the
absolutely
worst.
imagine that. Yeah.
It was like, well, I'm not having fun, so why am I doing this?
Exactly, and that's what D&D is. That's what like playing video games is. It's escapism. So if I wanted the intellectual exercise of trying to make the worst decisions, like that goes into the prisoner dilemma, or like these awful post-apocalyptic blah 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 blah. And we won't even talk about it, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And some people like that, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And good for them, but boy, do I not like that.
That's not what this is.
No.
This is, touching on all the parts of me. And it's fun to...
You're touching you?
I'm touching myself. Thank you, Mommy. Yay!
You cannot pass up a good touch yourself joke.
I mean,
yeah. Especially.
I'm glad that you appreciate the joke, in the humor in, like, playing with myself. Like, my tagline that I've done for every episode.
Which, it's still funny. Mm-hmm. I believe last time I said, that is so freaking funny, and it still is very funny.
My grandma also shares our very good sense of humor, so I wonder how she will react to, like, oh, my grandson's playing with himself.
She will think that's hilarious.
She is she's a mischievous gnome also.
She has her tipsy qualities, whether she's tipsy or not tipsy.
Yes. Even more truncated, what would you like to talk about tonight, Mom? Maybe 2 or 3 things overall, and we're good at vamping, but...
do we want to talk about the last episode? There were a couple of things that were kind of fun, or is that like... I don't want to do spoilers, but they're not really spoilers, because, you're up on everything, right? But I thought the D and merchandise was very cute, because I really liked how you planned it all, where you were like... Here's this and this and this and bam, 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 bam. And then by the end, it was just this little. I thought that was
little tiny living space.
It was very. Yeah.
Thank you. Scheme. That was the funniest thing in the world.
Well, between you and Sarah, holy mackerel.
Sarah was away from a couple episodes, and then she came back in true hurricane force. Yeah. So that was good. Scheme.
The two of you playing off each other just delight me.
Oh yeah,
every turn.
Yes,
every way.
Yeah, Sarah in the chat says scheme. I spent like 45 minutes leading up. Like that day, I put up all of the boys of their artwork on the Redbubble, so that I could make sure to finally have, because there's a lot of like things that I work progressively towards as part of Poppy's 8 hours a day, kind of, and so merch finally like reached the finish line. So with that, I spent 45 minutes to cut out each picture, and then I spent like the time to like organize it all on the frame. So exactly,
very good.
In order and everything. But thank you. Yes. And then there was the thing about the R.
Yeah, so storytelling wise, I thought you did a great job with that. At one point, he's Sheen and Rock, and Sheen is going to teach him a 3rd level spell, and he's looking down the list and he's getting all excited. Ooh, this one, and he sees the, oh, well, it has to be this one. And I'm like, well, what one is it? And then he's like, yeah, it's the only one that starts with an R. And I'm like, my book is upstairs. I can't cheat and look. And then he cuts the scene. It's like, good cliffhanger. Very good storytelling. Goes back, tells the other part of the story, and then comes back, and we find out it's...
Remove curse.
Yes. And...
There it is. Yeah, I'm keeping an eagle eye on it now, baby.
Yeah, you are. Boy, you got that, like, snippity-doo-dah.
Yep. So, remove curse. Speaking of curses, yes, True Jack. True Jack, like, this past week, it was last... What was it? It was something else, but this last episode, I figured out the snapping and the crackling of the audio, but the mic itself is just cutting out randomly, so...
And True Jack, hi.
Hello.
We got to, like... hi at each other the other day, so now I get to say hi.
So this is my D&Mommy, and then we had my D&Papi earlier. Yeah, my family. Hi. So that's lovely.
That's very lovely. I hope you're having a good night.
Yeah. Or super early? Are you?
Yeah, it's 6 hours, right? Well, I don't know. Time change thingy is confusing because it's 2 weeks. Angel's all good at that.
We are back into.
We're back in sync?
Yes.
Okay, because also my new roommates told me that they're voting to just get away with the daylight savings period, and it's amazing if that does happen, because that's like a thing. Like, oh well, back when I was a kid, we actually turned our clocks forward an hour. What? Why, Grandpa?
Yeah.
It sucked.
Why? I don't know. Some
I
idiot
don't-
put it in a bill once and it snuck in, and we had to do it.
It's great to see such supportive D&D parents. My parents don't understand it at all. Well, yeah, no, my parents
I'm
are
sorry.
amazingly supportive in all my endeavors, and I'm very thankful. And this is just a small bit of me trying to return all of their love and encouragement. And yeah, thank you.
So when Victor tells me what your podcast is, then we'll go and check it out, because I'd like to support you too.
Yes, and I True Jack, I promise I will. This was a bonkers week, and then the week before that, but it's on my list, at the top of my to-do list. So, yes.
So.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
So, yeah, so that was amazing, and I was like, oh, I should have guessed what that was, because usually I'm really good at guessing what's going to happen, but I was like totally. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then when it was, I was like, oh my goodness, it's an amazing thing.
Now, here's an interesting thing, actually, speaking of that. Mom, you've known me for almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. And you are an enthusiast, and hopefully I never will. Yeah, it's like swatting mosquitoes now, where I'm like, so you also invest in movies and TV shows, and
What about this happening now is that it's not happening tomorrow night. Can you imagine how angry and frustrated? Well, you wouldn't be angry. You'd be flustered and frustrated.
Yep, and then
really
when
grumpy.
you edit out all the ums. It's gonna be awful. So, and books, you consume a lot of entertainment. Do you get to a point where you will know what's happening next? Because this is an improv show and a D&D show. Do you have inklings of what may happen? Or do you like, oh, I actually know where this is coming? Because I don't tell anyone any of my notes, and I let everything happen online. So,
You have a lot of times in life, when I'm consuming media, I can predict what's going to happen, and it's delightful when I don't get it right. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, for an example, Angel and I were watching Alta Mar, which is High Seas, on Netflix. And in the first 2 seconds, one of these characters walks in, and I go, oh man, he's the next to die. And Angel just, because he had seen season 1 and 2 before, because he was learning German, and so he was watching it in German, and then he was like, this is a good show, you'll enjoy it. So we watched it together, and it's a delightful, Castilian Spanish soap opera, telenovela, and some of them are like just, the dramatic face. Oh my God, it's great. Anyway. And so it turned out, that the guy did end up being not the next victim, but the one after that.
Oh.
And then it was something about one of the guys, he was being all shifty. He was the ship owner, and spoilers, sorry guys, but I was like, oh man, he's got gambling debt, doesn't he?
Yes.
The answer was yes.
oh my god.
And there were a couple of other things too, and he just kept looking at me like, the hell, how do you know any of this?
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't even watch like soap operas anymore, and it was just very funny. So yes, I'm fairly good at predicting things, which is why it's delightful when things surprise me.
Yeah.
As far as D&Me is concerned, mostly I can sort of feel where things are headed.
Okay.
But you've surprised me several times.
Good.
And you've got that like whip it down to the heartstrings thing. Even more times than that. And even if I can predict it, I'm still just stunned. But there are times I can't predict. Like we talked last time about when Onyx took off his silver mantle.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, I didn't know how it was going to resolve, but I was hoping it would resolve because it was just driving me bananas. As I know it was you driving you bananas.
Yeah.
but I couldn't predict.
There you go. You go. Hey.
Sometimes I can, but sometimes you surprise me, and that's always delightful.
Well, good, because I surprised myself as well, and I'm
That's
writing
what I
it.
love.
So yeah.
It's like, that's not how that was supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know how when you play D&D with, a different, like, you have a different GM, right? It's
Yeah.
not yourself. And you just have him going through, or her going through, like, or they going through
Okay.
all sorts of pretzel moves, and they're just like...
Yeah. Last story. There we go.
So it's very entertaining when you do that to yourself.
Yeah.
And I sometimes can not predict, but I know, I bet he didn't plan that, because I can see the expression in your face, and you're just like, well, and sometimes you're just like, well, that went completely different.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, well, I got to know how it was supposed to go. And I like those moments quite a lot.
Yeah, because you've also known me for almost 25 years now. You can tell.
Those 12 years, man.
Those 12 years.
Really good 12 years.
So we met last year. And
Hi, I'm Dodie. I haven't
very
met
nice
you
to
before.
meet you. But before commercial break, yeah, when you see me on stage, then you can tell, like, I can tell by your like your micro expressions of like, you might have skipped a line there or something. Like, you're one of the most in tuned people to the Victor machine. So it's always fun to hear that you don't really know where things are going, which is very good. And one of my favorite things is when you go, I loved that took you so much by surprise. I would love to know how you thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
And when we reach a huge milestone in D&Me, I do want to go through like the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign guide with you and go, okay, so
that would be very
this
cool.
is what started episode 5, but actually none of that happened. I kept this one sentence. I changed these characters to these characters, and then I completely skipped over these 38 pages, and like that'll be a fun thing. But I don't want like any spoilers. So
I really like how you add things in according to the season here in this world. Like the groundhog. I mean, you'll do anything for a good pun, right?
Yep.
And, that was hilarious. And then you did one earlier for a different holiday.
St. Patrick's Day. I
St.
did
Patrick's
one.
Day.
For
So funny. Oh my God.
Buzzed. That broke my heart when the crackling and popping.
Yeah.
But my dad said that he absolutely loved the smoke bomb that happened at the end of
fantastic!
everyone Buzzed.
Oh,
yeah. That was brilliant, and I rolled for that, and I think it was a natural 20, so it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yep.
And then episode 13, D and Spooky, because that was Halloween, that episode. But it's fun to incorporate that into like.
Yeah, it was good timing.
Yeah, everyone can connect. I think I have some Easter stuff coming up. And with that, thank you so much for joining. I'm so sorry about the mic. It has been cursed, and we're going to get rid of it. So thank you for joining D&Mommy and Papi. Yay! Thank you very much, and have a good night. Piece of shit, Mike.